Standing at 6 foot 2 inches, Manchester United make a big signing for a backup of a backup. We then look at the current state of the outgoings and why Manchester United is one of the worst selling clubs in the world. And then finally, we will conclude by looking at some of the comments made by Omar Berrada on the state of Manchester United and what he sees will happen in the near future. Manchester United has gotten his second here we go for the transfer window. I mean, I think this was just Manchester United trying to throw the fans a bone because the second signing, which was supposed to be Brian Mbeumo, has stalled for a bit. So I think they just wanted this news out. Not that it's the most sought after news, because I would have expected Manchester United to go for a second goalkeeper position first, because we really need somebody at that position, with Altay Bayanda going to leave the club for sure. And we need a backup to Andre Onana to challenge him and possibly take over the position at some time this season. But I guess we are going for the third keeper position and he's staying on. I feel he's there mostly to provide support as a leader, because I've always mentioned that I don't think this team has enough leaders, and you need people not only on the pitch but also in the background, and he'll be one of the senior players on the team along with Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. So it's good to keep him on the team. Plus, I don't think he's going to cost that much. So I guess it's a good signing, but it's a signing. So let's see what happens next. And yeah, this is the latest on Andre Onana. The more time passes by and with no news on Andre Onana, it looks like he might stay. So this is what the Athletic had to say. Andre Onana's representatives held a meeting with Old Trafford figures last week, and the goalkeeper is expected to stay this summer. Although Manchester United could still enter the market at his position to sign a backup who can provide him competition. Yeah, I don't think this position is a priority, especially with the fact that Manchester United are not getting any sales out the window. So it's looking likely that he might stay. Plus, you need to sell him for a decent amount for it to not be a loss on the books. So unless Saudi Arabia comes calling and he's interested, there is no chance you're going to sell him. So I don't know. Just go get a second keeper who's a good keeper, or at least he has potential and is willing to sit and wait for his turn, and hopefully he provides him with competition, and then may the best man win. Because Ruben did tolerate his mistakes for half a season, but I don't think he has a long leash. So let's see what happens. But yeah, it looks like Andre Onana is staying, mostly because I think it's a very expensive deal to be done. There's also no keeper available in the market who you can get for a really cheap price. So the best you can do is go get a competent second choice keeper, and then hope for the best. Hope that he gets better and he improves, and hope he improves possibly because of a good starting third, which might have a cascading effect on the other positions on the team. So let's look at the outgoings. So Manchester United is in that position where now it has to get its outgoings out so that it can get the funds to possibly get other players. And the situation is so dire that our players are not even being linked to other clubs. In fact, the players which we want to leave the club, the clubs with which they are linked to are already looking at other players for the same position, like for this one. So according to Fabrizio, Barcelona actively working on Nico Williams' operation with all parties involved on it, including the player's agent. Everybody at Barcelona now are involved on the player's side, and then I think he's on a release clause, so they're trying to get that over the line. So if they do get Nico Williams, that's a high value signing who's going to come in and play on the left side for Barcelona, possibly with Rafinha. So there's no chance of now going and getting Rashford. So now that leaves Rashford back on Manchester United's books. Now he has made it clear that he only wants to go to Barcelona. But once Barcelona gets this deal over the line, there is Manchester United cannot go to Barcelona after that. So then what happens? Are we able to sell him? No, because which club out there can now afford him? So again, there's a very good possibility that Marcus Rashford is going to go out on a loan again this season, because because of his wages and because of the fees that we are insisting on, which I think is about £40 million. There is nobody out there who's going to get this done. So I think if they get this deal done for Nico Williams, I think that Marcus Rashford to Barcelona dream is over, and so I think that'll be another loan. Then look at this. So Manchester United have been trying to sell Garnacho because he had a falling out with the manager and he was on the chopping block. So we know that Alejandro Garnacho has insisted on staying within the country and playing in the Premier League, and one of his suitors were Chelsea on the left position. They decided not to sign Jadon Sancho, which would have been a blessing as well, and now they're going for another option, which is Jamie Gittins from Borussia Dortmund. Now, I think that this is a cheaper option. I think they're going for this position because we have set the price for Alejandro Garnacho at £70 million, and there's no way that any team is going to come in for him at that price. So again, Manchester United is now stuck with a player that they want to get rid of, and it looks like I don't know what's going to happen with Alejandro. I think among all the players that Manchester United want to sell or get rid of, I think he's third on the list. I think the top priority to get rid of this season will be Jadon Sancho because he's on the last year of his contract, and plus there's no pathway back on the team. The second is Marcus Rashford because Marcus Rashford has already been punished and suspended and then sent out on loan already this season. And then the third is Alejandro Garnacho, who just cannot keep his mouth shut. That's the problem. That's the problem with the player, that he just cannot be a good professional. Because if he was just able to put his head down and go to work, I think he would have a place on this team. Either possibly as a starter, but now with Matheus Cunha coming into the team, possibly as a backup and playing in some cup games or whatnot. So this is what Fabrizio had to say about Jadon Sancho. So Manchester United will give priority to selling Jadon Sancho on a permanent deal before opening doors to loans. Napoli are among clubs keen but not intention to pay his current salary, early stages and more clubs in the race. See, this is the same BS that I mentioned on previous videos. So Jadon Sancho, they want to sell him on a permanent. Manchester United have quoted £25 million. That is a cheap price for a really talented player. But see, all the suitors are coming in. They know it's the last year of the deal. They know he has no pathway back on Manchester United's team. So they are trying to lowball us. Exactly what Napoli is trying to do here. I mean, what did they expect? Maybe they want him for £10 million. Anyway, I have mentioned that there's no way Jadon Sancho is going to go on a permanent sale this summer, because he will try to stay this summer on Manchester United's books, get paid the high wages that he's already on, and then go on a free next summer. He's probably just waiting it out to get a loan, and maybe the loan might be to Napoli, who knows. But I don't see this ending up with a permanent sale, especially a sale which will benefit Manchester United. I don't think he's going to give us any favors. So this is another potential sale which Manchester United had to do to get the funds in, and it looks like it's not going to go anywhere. And so then let's look at some of the latest on the incomings. So Arsenal have their sights focused on Benjamin Sesko, but obviously they tried to get Benjamin Sesko the previous summer and he was in the 40 plus range, and now he signed a new contract with RB Leipzig and they are now charging 80 to 100 million euros. Obviously within a year you can't double his price, so Arsenal are negotiating with the club to get that price down. So how does this affect Manchester United? So Arsenal are going to get only one striker. So their top priority is Benjamin Sesko, and I think their second priority, their backup, is Victor Gyökeres. Now Victor Gyökeres has already indicated his preference for Arsenal. So maybe you want the Sesko to Arsenal deal to go through so that Victor Gyökeres is free, but who knows? This is going to go a long way. I think if Arsenal get Benjamin Sesko, then Victor Gyökeres, I think his only destination can be Manchester United, because only Manchester United will then be able to pay the fee, which is about 60 to 70 M's. I don't think any other club across Europe will be willing to pay for him. So I think Manchester United is in a wait and see moment, and even Victor Gyökeres is in a wait and see, because even though he has shown preference, I don't think Arsenal value him as much as Benjamin Sesko. But let's see. I think that's going to go all the way. So hopefully we get the other deals done and we can see what happens here. But I'm personally on the Victor Osimhen train. Go get Victor Osimhen. He's on the last year of his contract. Try to sell a loan to Victor Osimhen and do what Napoli is doing to us when they want Jadon Sancho. Do what other clubs are doing when they come for Marcus Rashford. Everybody wants a loan of Manchester United players, but when Manchester United go the other way and try to get a player who's on the last year of his contract, and they can't seem to get it done. So I just try. Okay, and finally we'll conclude with the statements made by Omar Berrada. He's the current Manchester United CEO. So he in an interview went into quite detail about what he's seen in Manchester United, especially under the Ruben Amorim era, and what he expects to see in the near future. So he had made many great points, but some of the points were, so this one was, we have taken all the short-term pain in this season, but as of this summer, the worst bit is going to be behind us. We will have settled the management team, we will have settled the coaching team with the technical team around them. And on the football side, there's a clear idea of what we want to do, what players we want, and how we want to see the team playing. So essentially, they have been setting up the structure, but with respect to Ruben Amorim, I think they always wanted to support him. They knew this team is a shit show. They know these players, a lot of these players have attitude issues and need to be sent out, and so that's what they're trying to do on the side. But they knew we just got the best manager from Portugal, and before that we had the best manager from the Netherlands, and both of them were finding it hard to work with this team. So why would you place the blame on the managers when you can clearly see it's the team? And it's not just the team, it's the recruitment of the team. So he realizes the problems that Manchester United are facing, and they are trying to set up the structure so that they can get the right players in and get the wrong players out, and then have a realistic expectation of whether Manchester United can go ahead and win trophies. But if you remember, they had this video of where they showed the new stadium and how they want to get a Premier League trophy by the 150th anniversary of Manchester United. So this is what he had says about that. So by the time we got to Now we had all the discussions about what the squad needs, the 2 to 3 year plan to get the squad that is capable of winning the Premier League. So basically, they have a 3 year plan, which is try to get a Premier League by 2028. Is it realistic? I don't know. I let's see, because if you cannot sell and if you are stuck with the same team, they will betray the manager, and then the manager will get sacked, and then you'll be back in square one. So you have to get the outgoings down. If you cannot get the outgoings done, you're stuck with the same squads. The managers will have to play them, and then you'll get losing, or you'll get a lot more losses than wins. So this was an important point that he made about the signing. So obviously Manchester United got Matthias Cunha over the line, and then now we are patiently waiting for Bryan Mbeumo. It doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon, and people are complaining, why don't you put in the second bid? Put in the second bid, and just, if it's a difference of 5-10 million pounds, go ahead and just pay the difference and just get it done. But you shouldn't do that, because Manchester United always gets fleeced in these negotiations, so they need to keep a calm head. I mean, what's the point in getting Bryan Mbeumo 2 weeks early in the transfer window? It's not going to do us any good. But if we do end up spending a lot of money on him, it sets a precedent which other clubs, when they are trying to sell their players to Manchester United, will start quoting crazy prices, and Manchester United would then be stuck in a no-go situation. So this is what he said. He said, we are going to do our best to do more signings quickly. Sometimes when you're not quick, it's because you're negotiating and you're trying to make sure you get the right value for money. So being efficient or quick isn't necessarily the best thing for the club. I agree with this. Take your time with Bryan Mbeumo deal, because the only reason Brentford is now charging a high price for Bryan Mbeumo is because they saw the Matthias Cunha deal, which was 62 million pounds, and they're saying, hey, wait a minute, if you paid 62 million pounds for Matthias Cunha, maybe you can pay a comparable amount for Bryan Mbeumo. And that's what they're trying to do. And now Manchester United is trying to meet them in the middle, maybe in the 50-55 range, but I don't know if that's going to happen. You might end up having to pay about the same amount, because they have comparable numbers, but Bryan is in the last year of his deal, so you should be able to get a better deal for him. But they know that we are desperate for goal scorers, so that we are not going to back out of this deal. So ultimately they might get closer to what they want, but negotiation is now important. Just look at the bad negotiations we had in the past. I mean, I can go on for another 10 minutes about how we had negotiations for Casemiro, where Fiorentina Perez essentially just pulled our pants down and sent us with an aging midfielder on crazy money. It's just bad. We're just bad with respect to recruitment, but hopefully it changes in the next few years. And this is what he had to say about Matthias Cunha. I think Matthias Cunha was a good signing, especially for the first signing. He's a very talented player. He's in the front three. He always wanted Manchester United, so that'll tug at the heartstrings of the fans. And plus, he's a playmaker. He'll definitely be able to sell jerseys. So I don't know about this whole Cantona-esque. I don't know. Those are very big shoes to fill. So let's see what happens there. But just getting him done over the line was essential, just because of how Manchester United's season ended. So they had to get some good news to get the fans on board with basically with Ruben and this situation right now. And then finally this was the 2 to 3 year plan to win the Premier League. Obviously, when you're coming out and saying, hey, we are getting a new stadium, and you want to get and you're going to spend a lot of money in building a new stadium, and you have cut a lot of jobs, and I mean, people are on edge, and they want some positive news. And so he did mention that we would win Is it a possibility? Yes, but is it very likely to happen? Who knows? We just need to get in a Europa League spot this season, and then we can look to the future. But hopefully we get the signings in and the outgoings out before we can say what we want to happen in the following season. So let's see what happens. I'm excited for the Premier League schedule to be released this today. Just like Ten Hag, the first 10 to 15 games are going to be very important. If Ruben Amorim thinks that he can come into the season and expect to lose a lot of games again and still hold on to this job, he'll be sadly mistaken. So it is essential that Manchester United get a decent slate of at least opening set of 10 to 15 games, just so that all these new signings can get their feet wet and be ready for the upcoming season. But who knows? We are on a wait and see. So if you like what you see, please leave a comment below. Also, please like and subscribe, as it helps other people find this content. Thank you so much.